And that's what we have in this Western world where we are living now. And so that is, because, we are the ones electing these people. They come from the society. They come from the community. We know what they are, yet we open our eyes wide and let them get in there.
So how do we tend to educate our people as to know what to do in terms of managing corruption? Because if we are part of that, that make the country, that choose our leaders, how do we educate our people then?
Education of our people about corruption is just like, it's something we are doing here. Something that you are doing as a presenter, where you are able to reach out to people. And we need to start telling our people that corruption is what is causing their problem. That's one of the educations, of the education that we have to let them know.
So have you been able, at any point in time, with your exposures, been able to educate people back home since you've been back to Nigeria, especially being a writer? Yes,
of course. Apart from my writings, which get published in the newspapers, on the internet. Internet is something that is accessible to everybody these days. Even with the low literacy level of Nigeria, it's still getting through to a lot of people. People are sending their children to school. How do we manage corruption, like you said? We have to go back to the basics. I remember when I was in primary school and secondary school, we were taking subjects called government. We were taking subjects called civics. These are all the elements that tell us in those days how governance should be. This tells us how people should behave. People cannot steal and get away with it in those days. So these are things we have to go back to, and that's part of the management. And part of the management, again, like I said, is about educating our people. And I keep on saying this education. I know you will say, what is this education?
How do you educate the market people, the market women?
Yes.
Or the men that, the farmers? How do you tend? Is there any forum of educating them? Because I can tell you that it's not all the market women and the farmers that are literate.
Yes.
So how do you educate them? Because it does affect them as well.
Yes, that is right. You see, we need to organize our society. And when we organize our society, I'm talking in terms of, look at the way we do here. Tenant and resident associations, for example. These people meet. They have the whole talks, seminars, and so on. Now, in our own country, because of the level of literacy that we have, there will be a problem. Definitely, like you said, how do you educate the market woman? But I will tell you something. I wouldn't like to go into the nitty-gritty of how. The reason being that we have already seen the evidence during the last election in 2011. The market women, the so-called illiterate market women, are very much aware now of their rights. And these are the things we need to educate them about, their rights. We need to let them know that their leaders are there to serve them. We should not be worshiping them. We should not be adoring them. We are the one paying their salary. It's going to be difficult. You see, I'm not an expert on how if I have to sit down, I can write a book on how to educate. What are the inputs of educating our people? But we are getting there through the TV, for example, through the radio, through publicity posters. These are all the things that are necessary. And believe me, through town hall, there are already in Nigeria now, there are lots of organizations organizing town hall, what we call town hall meetings. And if we can't educate, if you can't bring the market women to these venues, at least their children can come. Their children are going to school. Their children will now go back to home and tell them what is happening and tell them what is going on. These are various ways. These are part of the ways. That's not everything.
It seems as if you're very passionate about our country, Nigeria. And I think people like you should be able to make a bit of change or changes in that country, following the fact that you've lived in a civilized country for so many years.
But that doesn't really matter. Look, our leaders, most of our leaders were educated abroad.
Right.
Yet they go back home and see what they are doing. They still go back to the status quo. They don't want to change anything.
When you talk of,
so many factors.
When you talk about corruption back home in Nigeria,
yes,
because you lived in Nigeria, can you now compare corruption in Nigeria with other countries? Can you compare it?
We can
because
compare.
it does happen in other countries.
That's what I said.
But ours is more prominent.
It's more prominent because we are there.
Right.
It's more prominent because it affects us. I believe me, if you go to Italy today, people will tell you about corruption. If you go to France,